All right, simplifying derivatives. Here we have a problem where we have f of x is equal to x squared times the square root of 1 minus x squared. And I'm hoping that as you look at this, you can see that this is a product rule problem that has a quotient rule inside of it. So here's the product rule, isn't it? That it's this function times this one. So I'm going to start to differentiate this. I'm going to take f of x is equal to x squared. F prime at x is equal to 2x. Here's where it gets a little bit gamier, is that g of x is equal to 1 minus x squared to the 1/2 power. And the reason I'm doing that is because I wanted you to be able to see why I'm using the chain rule here. We have an inside function in yellow, but we have this outside function right here to the 1/2 power, the square root, right? So I'm going to go ahead and start taking my g prime at x, and I'm going to use the chain rule. So I'm going to take the derivative of the outside, which is 1/2 times the inside stuff to the negative 1/2 power times, now I need my g prime at x, don't I? The inside stuff is just what it was before, which is 1 minus x squared. But what we have to do is take the derivative of the inside. And the derivative of the inside, the derivative of 1 minus x squared is negative 2x. So that's what I'm hoping you see. Now I'm going to go ahead and start putting together my product rule. And with the product rule, we know that we have, let me just minimize that, we have f of x times g prime at x, so we have x squared times g prime at x. And g prime at x is negative x, I'm just simplifying this part and this part, over 1 minus x squared to the 1/2 power, isn't it? Plus we have g of x, right? So we have g of x times f prime at x. And if you don't mind, I'm going to put the f prime at x in the front right there, if you don't mind, and multiply it by g prime at x, which is 1 minus x squared to the 1/2 power. All right? And let's see where we go from there. So here we're going to end up with negative x cubed over square root of 1 minus x squared plus 2x over 1 minus x squared. Whoops, let me do it this way. To the 1/2 power, right? So this goes up to the 1/2 power. 1 minus x squared square root of this whole thing. From here, what do I want to do here? Do I want to even mess with this? I think I do want to mess with this. I'm going to multiply this one, I think, by, I'm going to multiply this by square root of 1 minus x squared over square root of 1 minus x squared. You see I'm doing this because I'm trying to get a common denominator here and here. So I'm going to work that up a little bit, and we're going to get, this times this is 2x times 1 minus x squared, isn't it? All over 1 square root of 1 minus x squared. And then look, we don't need to keep doing this, right? This plus sign is this one, plus this negative x cubed. Let's see what we get here when we multiply this in. We get, I'm going to go ahead and distribute this in. It's just a lot of algebra, isn't it? I'm going to go ahead and bring this down so you can see what I'm doing here. So here's my negative x cubed plus 2x minus 2x cubed all over square root of 1 minus x squared. I'm going to simplify this now. I'm going to simplify a little bit, and we get negative 3x cubed plus 2x all over square root of 1 minus x squared. Just a ton of algebra. And I guess I'm going to go ahead and factor an x out here. So I'm going to get x times 2 minus 3x squared all over square root of 1 minus x squared. Hopefully what you got out of this video is just it's a ton of algebra. You have to really plan your way through. So what I'm hoping that at a minimum you got was the fact you recognize this as product rule, that you recognize part of the product rule here, that you're going to have to get this g prime at x here, and it was going to take you using the chain rule. So, look, I hope this was really helpful. Your comments are always welcome. Thanks.